I just have one quick question. What the hell happened in JoJolion? Be warned, there are spoilers ahead. And before we start, yes, I did make this. I think it looks pretty good, to be honest. So, JoJolion, the 8th part of JoJo. For many of us, this was the first time we were actively falling apart as it was being serialized, due to the fact that we joined after the anime came out, boosting its popularity. And when the anime came out in 2012, there had already been 7 completed parts. All in all, I would say JoJolion is the most divisive part of JoJo. Mostly because it's the most bizarre. So, let's start. There's Jobin Higashikata, the promised antagonist, the guy that carried our suspicions for the entire series. What's his history with his mother? What's his history with the Rokakaka? What's his dealings with it? What are his true intentions with his family? All of these things built up in the story. And what's Araki do? He just puts them aside in the end. And then there's Joshu, who I think really represents how weird JoJolion is. Someone who is truly the scummiest of the scum. An awful human being. Now, I hear all of you Joshu apologists out there, but I'm gonna tell you one thing. Stop making excuses for the guy. Just because you're projecting yourself onto him does not make him a good person. The only time he ever tried to do anything good was at the very end, when he was trying to help Yasuo. And even then, he was a complete creep. Now there's what many consider to be the most egregious offense of JoJolion. The final boss, Toru, who even I had to admit, was brought in way too late into the series. For many, he only seemed to be a mandatory obstacle for Josuke because there wasn't a final boss. But in my opinion, I think Toru was a good character. Sure, he could have been built up more. And yes, Wonder Review was hella overpowered. But when hasn't JoJo had stupid crazy power scaling? I guess what made Toru look so subpar was that the other Rock Human villains were so good. To be honest, Rock Humans are probably my favorite addition into the JoJo universe. The information that Araki gives is something that could have easily been ripped out of an encyclopedia in a world where Rock Humans were real, living creatures. And also, think about all the people that were teased to be Rock Humans in the past too. That's pretty wild. JoJolion also has its fair share of inconsistencies. Who was Flashback Man? Where's Carrera? And what's the deal with Josefumi's birthmark? But at the very least, Josefumi's birthmark was revealed at the end to be a mistake. So, incidents like that do happen. I do have to say, how did Mamazuku know about Spin? This only just fuels my theory that he's a Zeppeli. I mean, it hasn't been confirmed, but I mean, it hasn't been denied. All of these mistakes and ideas disapproved of by the community sometimes overshadow all the good that JoJolion brought. For starters, my favorite arc, the Vitamin C fight. Yoshikage Kira and Josefumi Kujo's journey was my favorite thing in JoJolion. Anytime that we caught a little glimpse of what happened in the past, I was so excited. So when we finally understood all the context of their scenes and the things that they did, the impact of the fight with Damo hit so much harder. And Damo, in my opinion, could have been the main villain. He was that good. No other time are you ever gonna catch me saying, wow, the exposition was so good, they should have written more. But every time that Araki did it, it was amazing. All of the mysteries in JoJolion were actually intriguing, and the reveals always paid off. Never again am I gonna see a woman with a fruit cut in half the same way again. And Josuke, probably the protagonist that had the most character development. It wasn't just decent character development, it was great character development. The story was actually his personal journey about finding himself. I'm sorry, Johnny, but you were a close second. And the romantic subplot never felt tacked on. Yasuo and Josuke were a lovable couple with unforgettable moments. The fights were amazing and always drawn beautifully. The stand designs changed drastically. Now they were slimmer, more modern, sleek. It was all new and all different, but still paying homage to the past. I only have 2 gripes with the ending though. The first one being the reintroduction of a fan favorite character. One that we all love and wanted to see come back in one way or another. He was incredible and he wrecked shop in about 2 chapters. But after that, you know he's not gonna come back. Araki wrote his entire backstory into another single-page exposition dump. There's no reason to bring him back, which stings a little. And then there's the situation with Holly Joestar. Unless Araki's trying to subvert expectations like he did with the child in part 7, it really left a bad taste in my mouth not knowing what's gonna happen to Holly. Unless we see it in JoJo lands. Oh yes, part 9, which we can already see just by looking at part 8 is gonna be a crazy ride. So if you were to ask me what the hell happened in JoJolion, it was a mess, but it was a beautiful mess. And no matter what, we're all gonna keep reading. Thank you, Rocky, for letting us join you for another adventure, and here's to the next one.